of the city game between the Duquesne Dukes and the Pittsburgh Panthers. It's a crosstown rival with plenty of new contributors. Hi everybody, I am Cameron Irwin and I'll be your sideline reporter throughout the evening. Now, with that being said, you obviously can tell that this game is being streamed live on Facebook. And this game is not just about both teams, but it's about you guys as an audience. And we want to interact with you. Let's build a community together. So please comment, like, share, and ask us plenty of questions. Now, to give you a little bit of a heads up, both of these teams have recently new coaching staffs with plenty of new student athletes. And this city game, well, it goes back about a 50 to 60 years, a very long time. With that being said, I got a chance to talk to two broadcasters, the longest tenured broadcasters in NCAA history, 50 years, who have called this game over 65 times. That is Ray Goss and Bill Hillgrove. Take a look.
It means a lot because these are the two premier teams. When I first started doing them 50 years ago, Duquesne was the team. And then Pitt became the team. But it's still a rivalry. And even people you talk to here that are neither Pitt or Duquesne fans, they come out because it's the city game and they just want to see it.
Bill, what has been your favorite city game to call through the history?
There have been so many, and by the way, I started when I was 7. I just wanted you to know that. Back in, I guess, the early 80s, when Pitt first got into the Big East, I think they started to kind of separate. And you know, it's a shame in a way because the darn thing became less competitive than fans wanted it to be. But I remember Pitt beating Duquesne twice in that year in 82, 81, 82. And then started a 9-game winning streak. Then it kind of went back and forth a little bit. And then the 15-game winning streak. And I didn't like that. I'd rather for it to be the city game and a game within a game. And I think we're back to that now.
Now, guys, I feel like I already know the answer to this question, but who do you have taking today's game?
Well, it's going to be a tough game because we both have positives and a lot of negatives. Pitt has like 11 new guys. We have 8 scholarship people because he brought in 5 transfers who can't play, plus we have 3 or 4 injured. So when we lose, it's because we run out of gas. So hope the tank will be full tonight for Duquesne.
Kevin Stallings has a bunch of yearlings. They remind me of the horses in the starting gate at the Kentucky Derby. You know, I mean, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know. And it's been fun watching them develop, but have they developed to the point where they can control this game? I think it's up for grabs.
Now, these guys were so fun to talk to. They are friends and still definitely rivals. We're going to take a minute here and tune over to the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please stand, remove your hats, and please welcome Blended Reality as they perform the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light
what so proudly we hailed
at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
o'er the ramparts we've watched
were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
you just saw.
Finishes.
Oh my goodness!
It's going to be all over every news channel tonight.
Welcome to Stadium's coverage of A-10 basketball exclusively on Facebook. They call it simply the City Game, a basketball rivalry between Pittsburgh and Duquesne that's been played every year since 1970. Nowadays, playing at the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins, PPG Paints Arena. Hardwood over the ice tonight on neutral turf, so to speak, with Doug Gottlieb. I'm Chris Hassel. Cameron Irwin is here as well. Kevin Stallings and the Pittsburgh Panthers off to a rough start this season at 3-4 in kind of the same boat as Duquesne. Both programs trying to rebuild right now. Doug.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 11 new players. And, you got 11 new players on a team, and this is his second year in the program. Remember last year for Pittsburgh, it was a disaster. It's their first loss to Duquesne in 16 games. And, of course, this year he's had to completely remake and rebuild the program. And they're taking on a Duquesne team, which is kind of doing the exact same thing. Now, back for Duquesne is Rene Castro-Kennedy, who's a grad senior. He's the type of player that can take over a game and lead the Dukes. They have a slim bench with 5 players sitting out who have transferred in. Castro-Kennedy's going to have to carry the Dukes tonight.
Doug, they have Eric Williams Jr., who's a freshman, and he actually became the first Duquesne freshman in program history to record a double-double in his first game. Kid's averaging a double-double through 4 games.
Well, part of it is, though, you have a slim bench, right? So you can play through errors. But Eric Williams is a fantastic athlete, one of those guys that plays as hard as a hard straight-line driver. Not a great shooter yet, but makes plays with his energy, with his athleticism, and his willingness to go to that strong left hand. Also pretty good shot blocker.
Pitt has 11 new scholarship players. Their best returner from last season is Ryan Luther, one of only 2 guys that really has seen a lot of action, and he is going to be one of their main men, probably the most recognizable name from last season.
Yeah, otherwise it's just name tag city, right? Yeah. with Pittsburgh, but they'll get progressively better. Ryan Luther last time out had 18 and 10 rebounds. Look, would he traditionally start in the ACC for Pittsburgh? Maybe not. But his veteran leadership is going to be paramount for this young team and a team that has some junior college transfers as they take some beatings in the ACC.
Jared Wilson frame. He can shoot, no question about it, over 40% from three-point range. And Doug, this is an opportunity here for the Duquesne program, an opportunity that it has not had in a long time. For 15 years, this was as one-sided a rivalry as a rivalry can get. They snapped a 15-game losing streak last season, a chance to win 2 in a row for the first time since 1980 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, last year they had to suspend Artis, the Pittsburgh's best player, and so that helped, obviously, with Duquesne. But yeah, look, if you can win 2 in a row, especially in the City Series, and if you haven't been to Pittsburgh, like Duquesne is, you could hit a drive and hit Duquesne's campus from this arena. And Pittsburgh, the Tower of Learning, is about 2 or 3 blocks away. They are literally walking distance from one another. And when you stay in town in the summer and work out, you're playing pickup basketball against one another. So unlike some City Series bragging rights games, these 2 teams actually occupy the same living space.
86th meeting between Pittsburgh and Duquesne. The first meeting in 1932. Pitt holding the edge, as one would expect, 53-32. But last time out, December the 2nd of last year, Duquesne won 64-55 right here on this floor, where they have played ever since the building opened in 2010. These 2 teams played the first basketball game in this arena where the Pittsburgh Penguins play. This is the arena that will be hosting one of the first and second round sites for the NCAA tournament this season.
This is a great place. I got a chance to call games at the A-10 tournament here last year, and as much as it's a great hockey venue, obviously with the Pens playing here, they just dropped the puck in Buffalo as we speak. Great sight lines for basketball as well. It's a basketball thirsty city. You see in Kevin Stallings, he's been a part of rebuilds when he's at Illinois State, when he first got to Vanderbilt. I think people expected him to automatically sprinkle some special sauce. They had a senior-laden lineup. You lose Jamel Artis, you lose Mike Young. This was bound to happen. And now with 11 new players, eventually he'll recreate the culture that he had when he's at Vanderbilt.
They started 12-3 a season ago. They had wins over Maryland, Penn State, Marquette, Virginia. Then they lost 8 straight. On the other side is Keith Dambrot. First season for Duquesne, came over after a long, very successful career at Akron. And of course, the kids will all know him as LeBron James's high school coach. Coach LeBron at St. Vincent St. Mary's. Won a school record 27 games last season for the Akron Zips, but he's back to, well, a place he calls home at Duquesne because where his father played some time ago. Pittsburgh wins the opening tip. And Duquesne goes man-to-man to get things going. Pittsburgh is the de facto road team. Even though these two campuses only separated by 2 miles, this arena is closer to the Duquesne campus. Shamil Stevenson got it partially blocked, and Duquesne comes away with a stop on the opening possession. The Dukes coming off back-to-back losses after a 2-0 start. Lost to Robert Morris, also a Pittsburgh school, and Cornell.
Bobby Moe just down the street.
That was knocked away. Pittsburgh forces the turnover. Jonathan Milligan was pushing and now holds it up.
Milligan, another one, the other returner for Pittsburgh.
Do either one of these teams have an identity yet?
I don't think so. I do think that if you look at how Pittsburgh's playing, and Milligan with the miss, I think Pittsburgh, they're shooting about 25 threes a game recently. They want to spread you out, really run some ball screens, and kind of play 2017 basketball. They're going to play fast and shoot a lot of threes, and I think because of their inexperience, eventually they'll start making more.
Eric Williams Jr., the freshman, called for the foul there. That looked like all ball.
I told you he was a freak athlete.
Sounded like all ball, but Stevenson goes to the free throw line, 63% on the season. Doug, I'm impressed by the turnout tonight. I honestly was not expecting this many students and fans in the arena tonight as we take one more look.
Williams' athleticism. Remember, he's left-handed, goes up, blocks that with a strong left hand. I wouldn't be like, this is a good basketball town, kind of an underrated. Philadelphia in the state of Pennsylvania gets kind of the most credit. Great basketball city, arguably the best college basketball city in the country. But Pittsburgh has a ton of passion. Of course, Pitt has had a lot of success.
Two teams in a rebuilding phase right now, and Pittsburgh having a rough time of it. Last time out, a win against High Point, but it was hotly contested.
Well, not just that, they're struggling to draw at home as well.
That three is too strong. Only had 2,399 fans attend that game. That is a Peterson Event Center low for a men's basketball game.
It's always interesting to me, though, right? Like, the fans show it when you're playing well and you have great players. They don't need you that much.
Yeah, right. When they need you, they don't show.
When we need you, they don't show.
Good pass and the stuff. That is Titus Verhoeven.
Verhoeven, kind of an energy guy. You see him guarding Stevenson out 40 feet from the basket.
If you're new to the Facebook thing and you want to get rid of the comments, just swipe them out of there. Swipe them right, and you get the whole picture.
Yeah, last night my wife said, the comments for you are great. Comments for me, not so much. She wanted to get rid of mine.
Jared Wilson Frame drains the triple. And Pittsburgh's on the board here. 2.5 minutes in here at PPG Paints Arena. Used to be the Consol Energy Center. Mike Lewis, the second, misfiring on that three-point attempt. Slow shooting start for Duquesne in the early going. They've misfired on 3 of their first 4. Stevenson, cross court. This is Milligan out of Orlando. (5-3) Pittsburgh. Thanks for joining us on Facebook tonight. With Doug Gottlieb, I'm Chris Hassel. We have Cameron Irwin on the sidelines for us all night long. No commercial breaks. We'll be sending it to Cameron quite a bit throughout the night. So keep the comments coming. You see the hashtag in the upper right-hand portion is Verhoeven.
And that's what you get with Verhoeven when he gets a dunk. we kind of talked about this a little bit last night. Sometimes energy players, when they get a dunk early in the first half, now they're throwing in shots. Now they're making shots they don't normally make. And we mentioned Verhoeven with the dunk. Just picking, rolling, being active. And then Pittsburgh, the ability to knock down the three-point shot from Wilson Frame. Of course, he played for Steve DeMeo at Northwest Florida State, one of several junior college transfers on this Pittsburgh ball club. DeMeo was the Red Auerbach National Coach of the Year. It's the best Jewish coach in the country. Keith Dambrot has won that award as well.
Interesting. A reverse. And Stevenson has Pittsburgh up 3 as we hit the 16-minute mark of the first half. Even though there's no commercials, still have the media timeouts. So at the next dead ball, we'll get our first break in the action. That's Castro Kennedy, transferred from Butler.
Now, he transferred after his freshman year, playing backup point guard. Came here and he's been a very effective scorer. It takes him a while to get off his three. He's more of a downhill player, likes that mid-range pull-up.
It's a nice take from Wilson Frame, just unable to finish. This is Terrence Smith. Castro Kennedy let it go through his legs, re-keys the offense, gets a screen. It was an illegal screen, though, from Jordan Robinson. And that takes us to our first break in the action, 7-4. Pittsburgh on top early in the city game, the 86th meeting between Pittsburgh and Duquesne. Cameron Irwin on the sidelines.
Hey guys, so I have been looking through the comments and I also commented back. And a lot of those questions have been about how big and how large and loud are these fans. Well, I can tell you, I am sitting right here, and I am right next to the blue and red crew, and you can see them just to my right over here, and they are so loud. Check this out. We've got so many fans. Hey guys, we are putting you live on air right now, so could we, let's see. What is your name, number one?
My name, Steven.
What is your favorite thing about Duquesne?
I just love how we all just come together to support each other. You know, the women coming to the men's city game, you know, the men's going to the women's city game. You know, we just all come together as a community. I really love that.
So, give me your loudest Duquesne cheer.
My loudest Duquesne cheer? Let's go, Duke!
I love it. Send it on back to you guys.
Cameron, thank you very much. I did see the Duquesne women's team in attendance tonight. Right over there by the crew. Great student turnout. Duquesne, a little over 9,000 students. Pittsburgh has over 28,000. Both student sections have shown up tonight. Got the crew and the zoo. People on Facebook wanting the crew to get a little bit louder because the zoo is making some noise. Or is it the other way around? I don't know, you be the judge.
Well, the Oakland Zoo, of course, that's the nickname for the student section at the Pete Peterson Event Center. And, you know, Duquesne's putting $40 million into their facility. 40.
Things are looking up. I mean, Duquesne's 2-2 this season. A couple tough losses in the non-conference. But they're not going to win much this season. It's next season when Dambrot gets his transfers, and he's got 5 of them waiting, Doug. That's going to change things a lot once they get going, and then they have all the money going into the facility.
Yeah, Marcus Weathers coming in from Miami of Ohio. Michael Hughes followed him. He's a sophomore center, followed him from Akron. Chaz Brown from Coppin State, those among the transfers. Frankie Hughes, who came over from Missouri.
Three-pointer from Ryan Luther. 10th three-pointer of the season. Pittsburgh already playing in its 8th game. They played a lot more than Duquesne has so far this season.
Remember, they played that first game. That first game you could play in college basketball. Played the Naval Academy at Navy. Unfortunately, lost that game. Well, Ryan Luther as a stretch 5, really effective within what Kevin Stallings wants to do.
Luther with the box out and the rebound to Marcus Carr. We do expect to see Chaz Brown at some point tonight for Duquesne. He hasn't played at all. The Coppin State MVP. The transfers had a foot injury this season, but Expect to see him for limited minutes tonight. A travel on the baseline, and at 10-4, Pittsburgh turns it over.
I mean, kind of a simple look where you invert your offense. You have your guard screen for your center because the man guarding Luther is so used to helping around the basket. Great offensive action from Kevin Stallings.
Williams Jr. driving, and he gets bumped. He'll get free throws. Get Wilson Frame on the foul. Eric Williams Jr. from New Haven, not New Haven, Connecticut, New Haven, Michigan.
And they were recruiting him in Akron. And as soon as they got the job, it's kind of interesting how they got the job. Dane Fife was apparently the assistant at Michigan State, was apparently very close to taking the job. At the last second, he decided to turn it down. They immediately turned to Keith Dambrot because they wanted stability. In order to get Keith Dambrot out of Akron, where he had built a juggernaut of a program, they had to offer him an 8-year contract.
What are your thoughts on an 8-year contract for a coach of his ilk? I mean, he hasn't wanted a major school, but he had it really going there in Akron with the Zips. I mean, it was 23, 24 wins every season.
And that's not a terribly far. It's actually a lot closer than you think. I like it. I think it brings stability to the program, and that's what they need. I mean, it's a program that used to be in the 40s, was one of the dominant programs in college, went to the Final Four. Haven't been in the tournament since 1977. They've had some good coaches here. So you need the facilities, and you need a stable voice who knows how to win and recruit at this level. I think Keith Dambrot's a great hire. Perfect fit.
Largest lead of the game so far for Pittsburgh. They are up 7, 12-5. Luther, the crossover, the take, and the foul.
Now this is where Luther has developed his game. He's always been able to catch and shoot. Watch the dexterity with the crossover. You get away with a little travel and avoiding the charge. A tremendous play from Luther.
Hit a three, and now a chance to do it the old-fashioned way, averaging 13 and 9 so far this season. Leads the team in rebounds, steals, and blocks.
I mean, it's a great opportunity for him. Remember, his first year at Pitt, he averaged like 2 points a game, wasn't getting in. They were recruiting over him. And he just bought into Stalin's program. And credit Kevin Stallings and staff using him appropriately out in the perimeter.
Lewis misses. Duquesne 2 of 7 from the floor. Luther uses the head fake. The extra pass in the corner. Parker Stewart can't get it to go. Offensive rebound, put back from Kenna Chukwuka.
Chukwuka is actually a very good shooter. They're trying to get him to get inside and be tougher. Originally from Sweden. This ball movement was absolutely exquisite from the Panthers, and they got you so stretched out, it allows you to rebound the basketball much easier.
And a timeout on the court. Pittsburgh has taken a 16-5 lead on Duquesne. 7 of 12 from the floor are the Panthers, and maybe the best start to a game for Pittsburgh all season long. Started off the season losing to Montana, and then to Navy. Got blown out by Penn State. Played competitive against Oklahoma State, and after that Oklahoma State game, back-to-back wins over Lehigh and High Point.
Yeah, and look, obviously you're stepping down in level of competition, but Lehigh's got a good club. Beating them, I think, is a quality win. That's a team that'll compete with Bucknell atop the Patriot League. And Oklahoma State game was a game they could have won as well. You look at the ACC, and the ACC absolutely throttling the Big Ten in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Could be a long year in the Oakland Zoo, but every win builds confidence, and especially after last year when Jamel Artis was suspended and they lost that game. Doesn't matter if these guys weren't around. Kevin Stallings knows this is really important to win for the Pittsburgh faithful that have been down on this team.
That's the Duke. Join the conversation using the hashtag you see on your screen there.
I like this.
Pitt
Alex Cunningham says, reminder, Pitt football claims 4 national championships because some guy decades later said they won them. That's right. That happened in my alma mater. They named Oklahoma State like 1940 NCAA football champions just because some poll.
There's some seasons where like 14 different teams have claimed the national title in one season.
Well, Alabama's got that in college football. You know, where they have like they got a ton of titles recently, but they have some that the Tuscaloosa News claimed them a national title. Like, yeah, I'm not really sure that was the most neutral. Caleb says there's nowhere Doug Gottlieb would want to be less than the city game. Caleb, that is not true at all.
Why would you say that?
Man, my boy Josh Schachter's here. His kids are here. I'm a big fan of the city game. Kevin Stallings sitting there talking with assistants.
Send in your pictures too. I mean, if you're sitting there enjoying a cocktail, maybe some nice appetizers, watching the game. Use the hashtag.
All appropriate pictures, right? All appropriate pictures.
We may even accept some inappropriate pictures, as long as they aren't too inappropriate. That one going on Pitt's Parker Stewart's. Duquesne's got to figure out a way to manufacture some offense. Maybe it's getting to the free throw line.
That is one way. Now Mike Lewis, who's a sophomore from St. Louis. I mean, I think you have to pick up. You have to try and speed the game up, because once Pittsburgh gets into the half court, they're just bigger and frankly a little bit better at most every position, and they got you spread way out. You got to turn it into a junkyard dog game.
Lewis hasn't shot it well from the field, but he's certainly shooting it well from the free throw line so far this season. 83%.
He played in just a great high school program. Frank Bennett coached him at Chaminade, St. Louis. It's a prep school, and I think they had 4 guys on his team go D1. He only averaged like 10 a game, but that's just because they had so many players.
Get a travel. Yeah, you're right. Jason Tatum was on that team.
And they won the state championship. Loaded club. Jason Tatum a little better than I thought. I thought he'd be the most ready to play. I didn't think he'd be that ready to play.
So you got a travel or a hook there. And Tatum is the
pick a violation.
Best of the top 3 so far in the NBA.
Yes. Yeah, but like some of that was expected. I didn't think it was expected for him to be this good. It's like Jaylen Brown. I thought Jaylen Brown eventually would be a good pro. I didn't think he'd be this good a pro in his second year with the Celtics. Got a little clock malfunction.
Working it out. Not usually a basketball venue here.
Or they're reviewing it. Looking for the hook. Where the ball went off.
Mark, our producer, seems to think they're just looking at the clock.
No. They're looking at that is the. They're looking at a review here.
Now, what could they possibly be reviewing? You gonna give somebody a tee for a hook? I mean, I won't be surprised by anything after I was a part of that 3-on-5 basketball game between Minnesota and Alabama last week.
Vance says in his Facebook comments, Doug, NIT was considered an equal, if not better, tournament when the Dukes won in 1950. Come on, man. Like, I'm trying to pump up the Dukes. Yes. No, listen, Duquesne was a really good program. And what happened was Pittsburgh, frankly, they got into the Big East. I understand, like, if you're not old enough or you didn't know about college basketball, like, the Big East schools were collectively not great baskets. There were some good basketball schools, but once they got together and they got on ESPN and they had Big Monday and they started getting players, then all of a sudden it left the A-10 and some of the other Atlantic schools in their dust.
Thanks for watching the stream tonight. College basketball on Facebook. Thanks to Stadium, your new national sports network, the only 24/7 network available on both television and digital devices without a cable subscription. Check your local listings. Or go to watchstadium.com. Click where to watch. Stadium, welcome to the game. Doug, I know you're following the comments.
Yeah, so Caleb says it's been a 4 or 5 seed in the tourney this year. That's obviously, you got to do hashtag sarcasm there, right?
Yeah, you got to use like an emoji or something.
Yeah, well, Caleb said, yeah, so Alex Cunningham says Caleb Pitt is a 4 or 5 seed in the CBI this year. Ouch.
I don't know that they're making the CBI.
Eastern 8 was a great conference. Pitt told Duquesne that they were staying, then bolted. Now look, the not joining the Big East thing is, you go back historically, Syracuse was always a good program, and then you had, it created what we have with Seton Hall. Seton Hall's a very good team, by the way, this year. You want a team that could win the Big East ahead of Villanova? Something with 10 seconds?
Yeah, that
wasn't really paying attention.
I think they may have taken 10 seconds off the clock.
That, by the way, is Caleb, who keeps tweeting. His emoji does not, his what's it called? Avatar does not match up with who it is. I don't get into Big East history. All I can tell you is that when you grow up, I grew up in Southern California, and though my mom went to Syracuse, so I knew about Syracuse basketball, I didn't know anything about St. Joe's or LaSalle or Duquesne or any of these other great schools that are on the Eastern Seaboard. The ones I knew were the ones in the Big East because they were on TV playing basketball.
And now Pittsburgh, of course, out of the Big East, and some fans are upset about that. They haven't been the same since. Certainly have not been competitive in the ACC. I'm going to get a hold there on Chaz Brown, who's seen his first action in the number 0 there. Might get 7 or 8 minutes tonight from Coppin State. They're expecting him to be a big-time contributor this season, but hasn't played at all, been nursing a foot injury. Pittsburgh has led pretty much the whole way. Good block, though. Eric Williams Jr. on the deflection. He was called for a foul when he blocked the dunk attempt earlier. That one not called.
He blocked that with two. He blocked that with 2 hands.
Castro Kennedy, the step back is too strong.
That's a grown man move, though, from Castro Kennedy, pushing off with his off arm and still having the strength to pull up.
Carr kicks it out, a 3. Rattles around, nearly bounced in.
Wilson Frame can really, really shoot the basketball. That's an easy offensive foul call.
On Duquesne, and it again is on Chaz Brown, and I got to imagine he might be taken out of this game. 2 fouls now, and he just doesn't look like he's ready to go.
I think he actually had the block. I'm not sure it was Williams or as much as Chaz Brown, but
it's a big body, and
massive.
Duquesne needs a big body out there, but he doesn't seem to be moving too well. Duquesne just 2 baskets so far in the first 9.5 minutes of this game. They're 2 for 9. Pittsburgh 7 for 14. Chance to take a double-digit lead for the first time in this game.
It's a very difficult offense to guard.
Carr, the jump pass. Wilson framed the step. Missed the finger roll. It's corralled by Jordan Robinson. Look at a 3, and that one's off the mark. Duquesne 0 for 6 from 3-point range. Castro Kennedy, the pass, and the freshman will get to the free throw line. Eric Williams Jr. has been active early. He was the A-10 co-freshman of the week in week 1.
And I like that Castro Kennedy has shown the willingness to give it up. But some of the spacing issues that Duquesne has. Williams Jr. is not confident as a 3-point shooter, is always cutting. So there's not a ton of space. That court is kind of shrunk on.
Duquesne has most of its points from the free throw line. 5 of 6 from the line, 2 of 10 from the floor, 16-9.
Williams Jr. of course led his high school team to a Class B state championship. You mentioned New Haven, Michigan. At 50 in a game. Playoff game.
Luther. Carr was going to rise up, and he saw Luther sprinting to the hoop. Good pass, good bucket.
Look, I know Pittsburgh fans are right now down on Kevin Stallings. You even see some of the comments. You know, suddenly you miss Jamie Dixon, who did a great job in Pittsburgh, but probably it stayed too long. I'll tell you this about Kevin Stallings. he's a very good offensive coach.
Luther with Carr, and Carr with the left hand. Largest lead of the game. It's at 11. Castro Kennedy stepped on the line. He just ran straight out and then had a horrible angle to try to pass it.
This is Marcus Carr, of course, freshman from Montverde Academy, originally from Canada. Really talented, explosive, big-bodied guard.
Pittsburgh in control early. Milligan to the open Carr. Luther pokes it out. A collision. And Duquesne's going to get just its third bucket of the game. That is Kellen Taylor, the football player. He's a wide receiver on the Duquesne football team.
And that's kind of like a football type of play, right? Like loose ball, he just finds a way and avoids the shoe of the Pittsburgh defender.
Cameron Irwin's going to have more on his football escapades in just a little bit. Maybe he'll get the offense going for Duquesne. Luther can't get the roll. Williams Jr. the rebound. Taylor the screen. And that one might have been partially blocked by Luther. Carr again left open for three.
When you see freshmen, you see junior college transfer to freshman, Pittsburgh starting to understand their offense and understand the spacing, where the shots come. That's one of the hard things that when you're developing as a young player, you don't know where the shots come in the offense. And oftentimes all the shots that you tried that you worked on when you're a little kid, like the shots are different within a real half-court offense that you're gonna play when you get to college. And Marcus Carr is learning that as he goes here at Pittsburgh.
23-11, Pittsburgh with the lead, but how about Kellen Taylor, Cameron?
Well, you guys mentioned Kellen Taylor and how he plays football. Well, I was able to dig up some football highlights, which we're going to queue up for you here in a second. You guys have got to check this out. Now, this Duquesne team competes at the FCS level, and they just barely missed the playoff. But check out this corner route, grab for touchdown. And this next one is actually my absolute favorite. Just in traffic, and the two guys behind him just getting rocked. Kellen Taylor is just incredibly athletic, and you see it already. He's made some big-time plays, and he's going to have to continue for this Duquesne team. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Cameron, it's just his second game. Didn't play in the first 3 games for Duquesne because he was on the football team. 20 catches, 276 yards, 3 touchdowns. Duquesne started 7-1 before losing its final 3 games of the season. Taylor actually played with Markel Fultz at DeMatha.
Yeah, he's DeMatha kid. I honestly, like, we'll go around the country, and remember we saw Chris Coakley last night from UAB. And you're like, Chris Coakley would be a good football player. I mean, some of these guys are, you can play basketball. He's done it the opposite. He's done both basketball and football, but playing football and now coming over to basketball. But Coakley is not. There's you go through the country and find guys that are 6'4" to 6'6", 6'7" that won't play in the NBA that could have a chance to play in the National Football League.
See so many guys that just, I don't know why I always put them at tight end. It's always the guys that are like 6'6", fast, just look like tight ends. Join the Facebook conversation. Everybody's got their phones out. The hashtag's on your screen, always in the upper right-hand part of the screen.
Well, because, like, look, blocking you have to put on a ton of weight, and it takes a lot of skill. And to be a wide receiver, I mean, some of these guys could be wide receivers, but tight end, you kind of could learn to block a little bit, but you can use your size to just kind of post guys up.
And Antonio Gates in the career he had after
Tony Gonzalez.
Just playing basketball in college and then go to the NBA or NFL and you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, now Tony played football growing up. He was actually my AAU teammate. And what a great, incredible competitor, even in high school. 6'4" post.
He had to shoot that, Doug.
That's why he doesn't take a lot of threes. So. Not there yet.
Taylor was able to get a second chance, though, for this Duquesne offense, and they're going to need some of that. Verhoeven, 3 buckets already in this game. He's really been the only offense.
Well, he got the dunk, he had the little left-hand runner, and now the little right-hand hook.
Showing the repertoire. Stevenson.
Beautiful move. We're watching Shamil Stevenson, another Canadian, another freshman. It's hard to win in college basketball when you have young players.
And new players, too. Mike Lewis II, he's a youngin', but second year as a starter. All A-10 rookie team a season ago.
Yeah, somebody, look at a walk-on the bench. Somebody said something to him from the Pittsburgh bench. And that's the only way you can handle it.
Luther baseline to jump pass. And Stewart hits the triple. Parker Stewart.
He can really shoot the basketball. His dad's a head coach in college.
Tennessee Martin.
Yep.
Anthony Stewart. Oh, he's feeling it a little bit now, Mike Lewis.
And Mike Lewis continues to have a nice little conversation with the bench.
Who do you think he's talking to? Coach player.
It's one of the walk-ons that said something. And they're all laughing now, but that's exactly what got him going.
Yeah. Wilson frame at 3. Pittsburgh's had a ton of open looks. Luther, the 3rd time's a charm. They're getting open looks and second chance opportunities.
Well, the problem with Duquesne, they're letting Pittsburgh turn the offense over side to side. And there's so much good ball movement that you get really spread out. And so either you give up an open 3 or that you run it out and a shooter and you give up a tip in and a rebound.
Look out, Lewis. You knew he was shooting that. Oh, baby! Now he's talking to Wilson Frame. He's hit 3 straight.
I want to know who the walk-on is who said something to him.
If I'm Kevin Stallings, I'm going down there. I'm sending him into the locker room. Get out. Because Duquesne had nothing until that happened.
Nothing. Bubkiss.
Foul's going on Pittsburgh. 30-21 game.
If Mike Lewis was playing NBA Jam, the flames would be coming out of the basket. He's on fire.
Flames might be coming out of his ears too.
Just a great free throw shooter who has the ability to just explode as a scorer. Now look, Pitt's still in a very good rhythm offensively. Driving in, kicking, extra pass.
Great pass from Marcus Carr.
Stewart's numbers belie the fact he's a very good shooter. They are really excited about his future.
There he is. Lewis. I imagine they'll get it back to him. Lewis is going to crank first chance he gets. They double teamed him and they left open Jordan Robinson.
Well, that's the problem when Luther stepped out on the ball screen. He's got to not allow him to turn the corner. And of course, there's got to be help in the lane.
It's a 7-point game now. Stevenson, a little bit too much dribbling there. 10 on the shot clock. Luther gets it stripped and stolen by Williams. The freshman inside will go to the free throw line. The foul is called on Milligan. And Duquesne has some life, folks.
Now, Mike Lewis has been scoring and scoring and scoring. He has kind of single-handedly energized this team. But now he gets double-teamed, kind of a long hedge by Luther. Finds his teammate Robinson and gets the finish. Duquesne's got life. I mean, this place was dead. They couldn't score. They had no offense. Somebody said something to Mike Lewis.
Right. Now, was something said before he made the first shot or after?
It was before he made the first shot, because then he made the first jump shot and he turned around and he said something to the bench. But he said something to the end of the bench.
Well, now he started 0 for 4. He's 3 for his last 3, and he leads all scorers with 10 points. Does Mike Lewis, the second preseason third team, all A10.
Look at the football team right there. So Facebook update. Darren Moore says that's a charge. That was not a charge. That was a block. We can replay it for you if you like.
Hey, Cameron, what's going on?
Well, guys, there's plenty of conversation happening on Facebook, but one of the hashtags that has started to come up is Ask Doug. The question from Jason Dumback: who is the best player of the Dixon era? What do you guys got?
Ooh, the best or my, do I get some? The best or my favorite?
Ooh, that's an even better question.
Ooh, let's see here.
Boy, you're taking a long time on this.
I mean, there's a lot of different choices. Most of them are point guards too, right? I mean, I did like Levance Fields. He's a personal favorite of mine. You know, Dwan Blair is like the first Pittsburgh kid, like local kid that ever starred for them. And God, so many. I mean, think of the history that
Brandon Knight.
Brandon Knight was like the first, right? Like he was the flag planter. And obviously, Sean Miller's it predates him in terms of era. I would probably go with Levance Fields. Like, Levance Fields never looked like he was in shape, and yet there he was sweating and hitting jump shots at the end of a game. He was a big sweater, let's just be honest. He looked like a guy that would not be fun to guard because he would sweat all over you.
Going with the backwards visor. Duquesne, student section.
Aaron Gray, Levance Fields.
Aaron Gray, former Chicago Bulls great.
I don't know, great is the...
So Williams Jr. hits the first, 71% on the season.
Julius Page, Ricardo Greer. Was Ricardo Greer? I think that was early in the first teams.
That's staying with Duquesne.
I think Brandon Knight actually, was Brandon Knight Ben Howland, or was he Jamie Dixon?
I'm sure Facebook will get back to you on that. Lewis again. Oh, that was halfway down.
Of course, the great Billy Knight played here, predating all of them. Braddock, Pennsylvania.
Six-point game, as close as Duquesne has been since the early stages of this game. Luther one-on-one. Another open look, but Pitt can't knock it down. Williams taking it right to the rack, got it stripped. Marcus Carr, the thievery, and Carr tried to use the Euro step. It worked.
What a great play from Carr on that steal. That's just strength. Williams tried to kind of step through and step over. Same move Carr made, but he brought the ball down. Carr did it, and he had the ball above his head. That's why it worked. Well, they tell you, catch it, keep it high.
So they always tell the big guys.
Nope.
That one's deflected. Williams corrals with 5 on the shot clock. Lewis is calling for it. Robinson hoists it up. It did hit rim. The rebound goes to Stewart and the Panthers.
That was a horrible looking shot. I'm not gonna, but it's also one of those field goal percentage killers, right? You look up, shot clock's going down, you just throw it up.
That's why you don't want big men with it.
Beautiful cut.
Late in the possession. Luther open three. Got it. Well, leads back to 11.
They are just slicing and dicing him with that offense, and Robinson struggling. Robinson, a kind of a traditional big banger in the A10. Now he's got to guard Luther, who can score in transition, can score in the low post. And Ryan Luther's a very good open three-point shooter, stretch 5.
He now has a dozen, does Luther. 2 for 2 from three-point range. Williams tries to get around Stewart and floats it in off the square.
That's one of those. Stewart got to be smarter. Williams is going left. No matter what, he's going to his left hand. Kind of challenged him way out the floor defensively, and the help couldn't come in time.
That one's kicked. So they'll reset the shot clock from 15 to 20.
Well, they just entered the ball inside. Watch Carr in the strength. Just kind of step through. He gets fouled. They don't call it. That was after the steal of Williams. And then Luther throws the ball inside to Carr. Robinson gets caught trying to block a shot because he's a center. And he's like, wait, I got to run back out. That sucks. Now, maybe he'll miss. Maybe he won't.
Final minute of the first half here in the city game.
Beautiful
Pittsburgh and
set
Duquesne. Great off the inbounds. Cameron Davis. Weren't sure if he was going to play in this game. He got banged up this week. Made an impact there.
Zipper faked the handoff and then faked the other handoff into a back door. Just a beautiful set play. Pittsburgh has you so spread out.
Terrence Smith way off on that three-point attempt, and Pittsburgh can pretty much hold it for one here. There's only about a 1.5 second difference shot clock to game clock.
Remember, no 5-second closely guarded rule anymore in college basketball.
Sharp first half for Pittsburgh. Shooting 53%, only 3 turnovers. Carr, the step back short. 1 second left. The hoist is way too strong from the strong football player, Kellen Taylor. Pittsburgh has led comfortably throughout.
That's just a thing of
hanging in there.
Just a thing of beauty. Ryan Luther fakes the handoff and then called set play into the back door. That's a great way to end with beautiful offensive execution at the end of your first half.
37-26, Pittsburgh with the lead. Cameron?
All right, Coach, what are you most pleased with in the first half?
Well, I thought our defense was really good, except for one little stretch there towards from the 7-minute timeout to the 3-minute timeout. But I thought we were pretty solid on defense.
Okay, what adjustments do you need to make to finish out this game?
Well, one got loose on us there. Lewis got loose on us there a little bit late in the half, and so we got to do a better job with him. But, you know, a little bit more execution on offense maybe, but just a little more of the same. I liked how we played. All
right, good luck, Coach. Thanks. Back to you guys.
I tend to agree with him. I liked how they played as well. He needs to tell those walk-ons to stop yapping at Mike Lewis. Mike Lewis caught a little fever. Hey, you guys, shut up and just be happy that you get per diem.
It's really the only run of the game that Duquesne has made. Got back into the game. But Pittsburgh, with a solid close to the half, has an 11-point lead here at halftime of the city game. An update from Stadium, Doug, and then we'll get to some of the comments that you've been sending here on Facebook.
Welcome into our stadium studios. I'm Tyler Jacobs. Last year, the Atlantic 10 had 3 teams make it to the NCAA tournament. It's a conference that has shown in years past that it can compete with the best in college basketball.
Let's go at this and become the best basketball-centric conference in America, and it's really been heartwarming to watch it grow.
It's a true basketball league with great tradition to it. When you talk about the St. Joe's, the Davidsons, and the Rhode Islands, and the VCUs, and the Daytons, and it's just got great tradition to it. They love their basketball. The great cities you get to go to in this league.
We have so much diversity in our conference. You know, it's geographically we're pretty much aligned, but other than that, I think there are a lot of differences that people have in terms of being able to recruit from great areas, the buildings that we have, the history and tradition that each school has. So I think it's really a lot of diversity in our conference.
I think it's one of the hardest playing conferences in the country. You know, I think it's just a chip on your shoulder, blue collar. You know, players believe they're better than guys that are playing in the quote-unquote Power 5 conferences in the Big East. I think the coaches think their teams are as good as those teams, and I think the players think that they're as good as those players. You know, and we just look for chances to get out there and prove it.
Everyone plays a different style. In most conferences, people kind of almost regress to the mean, and they carry on a similar style offensively and defensively. And here you've got people playing matchup zone, you've got people full court pressing, you got people playing small ball, you got people mauling you inside with 3 big men. It's a really unique, diverse style of play.
I think there are so many good teams in this league. You look at the teams that have been picked this year to be 8th or 9th in the league. they can be as good as anyone. And I also think this year is an interesting year with Dayton and VCU having brand new coaches. You know, I think there's some flux in the league where there are other teams that are looking to step into those roles that those schools have held.
This year is really interesting because you have a front runner in Rhode Island who's got so much coming back from a really, really good team that won in the NCAA tournament. Then I think you have 9, 10 other teams that look very similar on paper, and I think every coach has reason to be optimistic. Everyone has good players coming back. Everyone has good newcomers, and someone's going to emerge and separate themselves from that group.
We are looking forward to a great season with more than 20 A-10 conference games right here on Stadium, your new national sports network, the only 24/7 network available on both television and digital devices without a cable subscription. Check your local television listings or go to watchstadium.com and click where to watch. Stadium, welcome to the game.
And welcome back to PPG Paints Arena. The Pitt Panthers are leading the Duquesne Dukes 37-26 at the half. Now, again, we are live on Facebook, so I've been going through several comments throughout the game. A lot of conversation about coaches, but more importantly, we want to hear more questions from you guys. Who's your favorite player? Who are you most impressed with? Who are you surprised by? And what adjustments you'd like to see these two teams make? And I will pose those questions back over to Doug and Chris at the desk. Now, in terms of Facebook, we're going to keep it going. So please comment, like, and share. Continue the conversation. Now, one of the conversations that happened on our Facebook broadcast and Watch Stadium broadcast for us just last week was the Alabama and Minnesota basketball game. It had one of the craziest endings I think I have ever seen. Here's a look at the last few minutes.
Mason for three after he shook a dude. And then he looks at him. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. That is filthy. Mason is shimmying and shaking. Oh, we got a technical foul, I believe. A double technical. A lot of talking. And Richard Pitino, another one. This game is getting real interesting. He gets the second tee, and then you see Richard Pitino just fly off the handle. And we've got fisticuffs. A scuffle underneath, and players ready to throw. We saw some Alabama players step on the floor. That's an immediate technical. Well, the entire team is out there on the court. Every single player without warm-ups on is on the court for Alabama. And it's going to be a messy situation for officials. The entire bench from Alabama has been ejected from this game. And now the 5 on the court for Alabama are the 5 who have to go the rest of the way. And a foul on the floor. Number 5 on Ingram, and Alabama only has 4 players left. Petty, no good on the 3, and he's hurt. Petty is grabbing the foot. Alabama's playing with 4 players, and now down to 3. Now Sexton to the hoop. That wasn't 3 on 5. That was 1 on 5. Sexton's going to try to make something happen. Shoots it and hits. It's a 3. This is amazing. Here he comes. Sexton himself got it. It's a 1-possession game. Missed the shot with 1:15 to play. That would have cut it to 1. Coffee and the foul.
I think it's safe to say we may never see that ever again in the history of college basketball. A team finishing the game with 3 players.
Colin Sexton, he could beat a single team, just one guy on himself. He's that good. That was just absurd. Just the whole experience. To their defense, I haven't worked on an offense against 3 players. So give Sexton a lot of credit.
Now, guys, I'm going through the comments, and one comment that stood out to me, and I'm going to send this over to Chris and Doug, is Brad Troy said, Duquesne has now recruited one of the tallest recruiting classes in Duquesne history. Now, there are 5 guys coming in next year, 4 of which are over 6'9". My question to you, Chris and Doug, how is that going to affect the program? Because, again, they have 5 more additional guys sitting on the bench right now that are transfers getting ready to play.
Sounds like they're going to have a lot of new guys next season, huh?
Don't care how tall they are, can they play, right? Especially can you shoot and move the basketball. But, look, part of it is there is a difference in terms of the level of athlete that I think Keith Dambrot wants to bring in. When he was at Akron, you know, one of the problems in the Mid-American Conference is now if you have a player who's good his first 3 years, he graduates early, he transfers up to the Big Ten. But the level of talent in the middle to the bottom of the league wasn't great. So he had recruited above the level of Akron. He had brought in a better student athlete than they had previously been getting. That's why they dominated the league. And I think he'll do the same job at Duquesne because it's some similar recruiting areas. He brings in a similar staff. And then I think you see it reinvigorated by the money they're going to put into the building. I think Keith Dambrot's bringing in size, athleticism, more than anything, kind of a fresh look to Duquesne's program.
On the Pitt side, Doug, I did see someone asked, and I apologize, I don't remember who it was, asked theoretically if Pittsburgh played at that level that they did in the first half against, say, a North Carolina, where would that leave them? I know it's theoretical, but
made 37 points. I mean, I think they'd be competitive. It's when you have Ryan Luther, if he can hit shots, you can spread out the defense as a stretch 5. You know, I think the big question for them is, can some of their younger players or newer players make shots? If you can make shots within that offense, it spreads you way out, opens up the floor, and now you can get layups and play, you know, the 2017 analytics basketball, taking twos close to the rim and taking open rhythm threes. If you do that, you got a chance to beat a lot of people. And I think that's what Kevin wants to do. It's what he did kind of late in his career at Vanderbilt. He went through different incarnations of offense. I thought that was a beautifully played first half from an offensive standpoint. And it got away from him for a short stretch defensively, but generally they were very physical. And the game's been officiated to which they haven't had to back off their physicality.
I've been impressed with a couple players on the Pitt side of things in the first half. One of them is Ryan Luther. This kid has a game-high 12 points, 5 of 9 shooting. He's hit both of his threes, also 7 rebounds, Doug.
Well, the rebounding actually is probably the most impressive part to me because sometimes he's not in position to rebound, so you have to run to rebound. But I thought his ability to put the ball on the floor was actually most impressive, right? Like, you'll get big guys that can shoot, you'll get big guys that can rebound, but put it on the floor and create. I've known Stewart's a shooter. I think he'll continue to shoot well. And here we saw this last play of the first half with the called play out of the sideline, out of bounds.
Also like what I saw from Carr, 9 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists.
Yeah,
no turnovers.
Marcus Carr, they're very excited about his future potentially as a point guard. You know, they're still starting Jonathan Milligan, but expect Carr to get more and more of the time at the point as the season goes on.
So bad news for Duquesne, getting outscored by 10 in the paint and getting outscored from 3-point range as well.
But they did wake up offensively, and they're down 11, even though they're being badly outscored in the paint and from 3. So, you know, they got nothing out of their best player. They get zero bub-kissed out of their best player. So if you can get him going, the problem is Pitt's done a very good job sitting on his right hand, making him uncomfortable once he gets to the mid-range where he wants to score.
That's Doug Gottlieb. I'm Chris Hassel. Cameron Irwin is on the sidelines for us here as Stadium brings you college basketball exclusively on Facebook. One more half to go here in the City game as Pitt tries to start another winning streak. Last year right here in this building, Duquesne picked up the very first win over Pittsburgh in 15 years. No, Pittsburgh fans certainly not going to forget about that. Let's check out what Duquesne did in the first half. And look, it was a struggle very much so in the first 10 minutes. The only offense was coming from Titus Verhoeven, who had 3 buckets in the first half.
He was fine. You know, he got a dunk and he kind of got it going. And then, look, I thought they just played harder than Pitt for about 5 minutes. Then Mike Lewis was really kind of the guy who saved this half, really for everybody, right? He hits 3 big threes and then he drops off that nice little dime to Jordan Robinson. And everybody's on their phones. But
of course.
That's good, though. You can watch us on your
Facebook. Duquesne back out for the start of the second half. We're about 3 minutes away from the second half here on Facebook.
Paul Freeze says, Doug, you back for the backyard brawl next week? No, I'm not. West Virginia, who Dominated NJIT last night. Backyard brawl, Pitt, West Virginia. How about Pitt football? Upsetting Miami.
Oh, boy.
What a huge win.
And pretty handily as well. That was very impressive performance by Pittsburgh. Ryan Luther leading the way with 12 points. Mike Lewis leading scorer for Duquesne with 10 points. Keith Dambrot and his Duquesne Dukes down 11 at the half. Coach is with Cameron.
All right, Coach. Mike Lewis just went off 3 of 3 from the three-point line. What do you like from his play so far?
Well, I thought he played relaxed, and obviously we had trouble scoring, so it was important that he did make some. And we have to find ways to get him more shots. We got to do a better job sharing the ball. It's been a problem all year.
Now, defensively, you said sometimes you just have to win ugly. So what defensive pressure can you now add?
Well, we've had a hard time. We've had a hard time keeping them in front. We've given up too many easy baskets. We had one spurt where we played pretty good defensively, but we have to play better than that.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck. Back to you guys.
All right, Cameron, that's a look at Chaz Brown, who saw his first action of the season for Duquesne.
So here's the problem, okay? The way Pittsburgh plays, you're moving the ball side to side, you're in ball screen actions, you're all spread out, and you know, even when they haven't shot the ball well, you still respect the ability to step into an open three. I kind of think Keith you have to decide how we're going to shut off a side of the floor. You can't if you let the ball go from side to side to side, you're dead as a defense because you're running out to your guy, and when you run out in a closeout, now he can beat you off the dribble. This first half was dominated by that man's offense, and until Keith Dambrot and the staff decide how they're going to keep it to one side of the floor or simply not chase the ball and make them make shots over the top, I don't think they're going to be able to guard Pittsburgh.
Well, we mentioned that the backyard brawl is coming up on Saturday. We have a game for you on Sunday on Facebook, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Bradley, the Braves, heading west to face San Diego State at 6 o'clock Eastern Time on Sunday. Bradley and SDSU exclusively on Facebook. How are the Aztecs this year, Doug?
Okay. Remember, this is do people know that Steve Fisher retired? Kind of quietly retired?
I would say that the majority of college basketball fans don't know that yet.
Yeah,
it's still kind of college football season, you know?
No, not just that, but he also did it kind of quietly after the season. Brian Dutcher, his longtime right-hand man, took over. They just beat San Diego. Look, last year it was a team that it was a different makeup of a team than they've had, just because last year they had players that weren't transfers, that were top-level recruits, and they frankly got soft. They've been trying to kind of reinvent themselves, get back to being defense and rebounding dominant, and it's been a little bit of a struggle, but I think they're playing better in the last 2 or 3 games. Trey Kell, who started since the day he arrived, and Max Montana, I think have done a very good job perimeter defensively. So they're okay. The whole Mountain West has been down, and that entire league's trying to get back. I think UNLV is getting close to being back, and I think San Diego State is as well. New Mexico's probably a year away.
Second half underway. Duquesne with the basketball, trailing by 11. So behind double digits in the first 10 minutes of the game. Not gotten closer than 7 or so since the first few minutes. That one way off, but Duquesne's going to get a second crack at it. Verhoeven maybe ate a little bit too many Wheaties there in the locker room. He just airmailed the hoop. 14 on the shot clock. Castro Kennedy with 8. Nice take from Kellen Taylor, and he has provided a good spark off the bench.
Well, let's see if Castro Kennedy and Mike Lewis, 2 veteran guards, can kind of take over this game and get the Dukes back in it.
Wilson frame, no good. Offensive rebound. Stevenson gets to the free throw line. Shamil Stevenson just wanted that offensive rebound a little bit more.
Well, I mean, Verhoeven is what, 210, 215, and he's just kind of in the way. Taylor with the football player with a beautiful layup. And some of that is the mismatch of having Luther have to guard him out on the floor. That's where Luther's going to struggle in the ACC, is when he comes upon more athletic perimeter bigs, which he struggles to move laterally.
Got a question from Ryan. Realistically, Doug, how many wins can Pittsburgh fans expect in the ACC this season?
Well, remember, in the ACC, you don't play a balanced schedule. So some of it comes down to who you play, when you play them. And after West Virginia, they play McNeese, Delaware, Townsend. I know he asked about the, as Williams hits a 3, I know he asked about the ACC specifically. They open up with Miami, who's very, very good.
They just won at Minnesota.
Yeah, they're very good. And they play them December 30th, which good thing is no bowl game. Bad thing is there'd be nobody on campus to come to that.
Verhoeven in the block.
They go to Syracuse, they go to Duke, they go to Miami, they go to Carolina, they go to Clemson, they go to Florida State, they go to Notre Dame.
Yikes!
I mean, you want, if you're Pittsburgh, you're like, can we play Wake Forest like 6 times this year? Is there a way we can negotiate that?
Yeah, Wake not the tournament team that it was the season
They'll
ago.
win a couple. They're not going to go full Boston College from 2 years ago and not win any.
And even if they do, at least the football team won some conference games, unlike that Boston College team.
That is true.
Program, I guess I should say. That hit the side of the backboard.
Yeah, he's a good shooter. He's a very good shooter in junior college. I do not know I hit the side of the backboard.
Duquesne only down 8. Chance to get about as close as they've been. 10 on the shot clock. Castro Kennedy gets the screen from Verhoeven. Williams may have gotten away with a walk. Missed the 3.
I mean, they can't get Castro Kennedy a look. One, there's not the spacing. And 2, he's not able to get a step, and he's not a jump up and shoot over you got.
Averaging 20 points a game this season. He's 0 for 3, not a single point. Luther, the spin. Good adjustment from Verhoeven, who was able to block it, but it'll stay with Pittsburgh. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Duquesne hitting just its 3rd 3 of the game moments ago.
Well, Eric Williams setting the pick and the pop and knocking down the 3. Not really his game yet, but he is a big-time scorer, and Keith Ambrose has found himself a gem in the state of Michigan.
That one's poked out of bounds.
Williams, super active.
Shot clock is still at 4.
And he paid attention in scouting report because that was a called play. Same play.
You got to know Luther's probably going to shoot that because of the shot clock and where it was at.
It's a hard shot. I mean, look, for one on the clock. Would they have 1 on the clock when he caught it?
4.
But the way that play works, he sets a screen, the guard circles around and then re-screens him, and he has to run out, pop out. Like it's a hard catch and shoot. It's one of those ones that works, but the likelihood of making the shot is slight.
Duquesne can get a bucket here. The crowd will start to get behind him a little bit. They have more of a showing here from fans than Pittsburgh does. They're more vocal anyway, and Nicholas Kratholm has cut it to 5.
Yeah, Kratholm just checked into the game, and that's what he can provide. He's kind of a stretch 4-5. And lefty came in ready to play.
Duquesne trying to win back-to-back games in this city series for the first time since 1980. They snapped a 15-game losing streak to Pittsburgh a season ago. That's a 3 from Chukwuka.
And that's what Chukwuka eventually will provide them. Another stretch 4-5, the junior college transfer. Game just has to slow down for new players in order to play their game.
Terrence Smith, a lot of dribbling out high. Another 3 from Kratholm is good. The lefty is smooth.
Yeah, Kratholm's originally from Kentucky. He's a valedictorian in his high school class. He went to IMG for a year. I like Carl a lot, boy.
Yeah, he's going to be a good one. Stewart to bounce. The defense, though, 10 on the shot clock.
Missed him.
There was a hedge, and that just didn't quite work. Duquesne's getting some buckets, not getting the stops, though, that it needs to put a little run together.
And you probably ask yourself, why didn't Cradholm play in the first half? And then you watch him hedging that ball, so you're like, that's why he didn't play in the first half.
Williams, the spin and the foul. Freshman's got some moves. Got a good ball game here in downtown Pittsburgh. The Panthers have led throughout.
Speaking of downtown, Nicholas Cradholm.
Hey.
From way downtown. Bang! Off the bench. First 2 touches up and in. 3 is more than 2.
And he didn't have a single 3 all season until the second half of this one. He's now 2 for 5 on the year from outside. Cameron?
Right now, and can they make it to the next level?
I didn't catch the first part of the question.
Cameron, they for some reason,
turn
your mic off.
Sometimes, here, you know what? Let me.
No, it's good. It
We're
works.
good now.
Works.
We're good.
Pretend
Okay.
like this is the first go-around.
What was the question?
Hey, I was just going to say, one of the questions was just, who do you think the best player is on the floor right now, and do they have the ability to make it to the next level?
When people say
NBA.
next level,
Let's go NBA. Yeah.
Do people understand how hard it is to make it to the end? I'm not sure there's a healthy. There's
like 90% of high school kids think they're going to the NBA if they get a D1 offer.
Right. There's 351 Division I teams. There's 13 scholarships available per team, with the exception, obviously, of the Ivy League. There are 450 NBA players in the entire world. In the entire world. I mean, if you want me to tell you who's been most impressive?
Yeah, who are you most impressed by on the court today?
I like Marcus Carr a lot, the freshman guard from Montverde Academy, originally from Canada. Look, in terms of at their level, Eric Williams is going to be a problem in the Atlantic 10 as long as he's at Duquesne.
Check out what he just did.
I mean, look, if Eric Williams can lock in and really improve his shooting and continue to play with this type of energy, and like he's one of those guys, even there, he was going left, he spun to his right, he never dribbled the ball with his right hand. Watch this. Never dribbled the ball with his right hand. Like he's going left and it doesn't matter. But he's the type of athlete to which, if he can put out some size, you could play him as an undersized 4. He can shoot, he can block shots. He can be a tremendous player in the Atlantic 10. But like, look, the Atlantic 10's got good teams, good players.
The Atlantic 10 is a good conference. I mean, that's what Duquesne's picked last in the A-10. We saw the interviews with all the coaches. I mean, there's some really good basketball schools in the A-10.
Well, Rhode Island lost in the finals here last year, and they got in the NCAA tournament, thankfully. They were so good defensively. And, they had the potential. They probably should have beaten Oregon and had a shot to go to the Final Four.
That 3 is good from Parker Stewart.
What a beautiful set out of the timeout. I think Kevin Stallings having a lot of fun drawing up plays. No expectations with these players, but all of them can shoot. It's one of the things in recruiting that some coaches have been slow to come around to is you got to be able to shoot the basketball.
They forgot about Mike Lewis in the corner. I honestly think they totally forgot he was there.
I don't think so. I think Cradholm had just hit 2 threes, so you're running him.
When he was open too, he still passed it.
It's an extra pass.
It's a 4-point game. Duquesne outscoring Pittsburgh 17-10 here in the second half. Are going to get a foul on the interior on Williams Jr.
I mean, like, look, if everybody's helping on the strong side, the ball swung to the weak side. Just over rotation. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Two guys went to
that's the problem, really. Is you have miscommunication where Parker Stewart should be running to the corner. And Jonathan Milligan went and covered Cradholm.
.12 on the shot clock. Jonathan Milligan.
There are so many handoffs, ball screens. There's a hard offensive guard. And right now, Duquesne's just switching. I think he's supposed to switch everything except for Cradholm.
Wilson frame misses. It's out of bounds to Duquesne. The Duquesne Dukes down by just 4. Trailed by double digits most of the first half. There were a couple times Pittsburgh threatened to pull away. lead the all-time series 53-32
Look
to the
at
Pittsburgh Panthers.
Look at Andrew Friday. Does anyone else prefer this to TV coverage? This is awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
You're welcome.
It is awesome. I mean, the no commercials, it just that in itself.
Ryan says everyone can hate on Stallings, but he's great at setting up offense. I agree.
Not a good offensive possession for Duquesne. They turn it over.
And look, Jamie's teams, I don't think people appreciate it because, you know, they ugly. Just could be ugly.
47 points. This would be the final score. 47-43 ball.
But they won. There's just different ways to win basketball games. And obviously, when your athletic director leaves in your first year, goes to Oregon State, you start to wonder about your stability. But he got a 6-year contract. They're going to build this thing and they'll be fine. Are they going to win the ACC? It's probably unlikely. But the great thing about where Pittsburgh is and how Kevin's going to recruit is even all those 4-year guys that Jamie used to get. That's how you win in college basketball nowadays.
Chukwuka misses. Rebound Verhoeven. Coming up on 13 minutes to play. Verhoeven one-on-one. He faces, he backs. Tough shot, but a great rebound from Williams, and the foul.
This kid is terrific. He just plays harder than other people. There's 2 Pittsburgh defenders in there, and he gets inside position. See how he kind of whips inside on Davis? And he's on offense, and he was boxing out.
Can't convert on the 3-point play, but it's a 2-point game. As close as it's been since the first couple minutes. In the second half, Duquesne 7 of 11 from the floor. Only 9 made buckets the whole first half.
There's some hard cuts to guard. An Iverson cut into a ball screen and another ball screen.
Milligan outside at 3 is good from Stewart. Hit one from the same spot as that one a few minutes ago.
Credit Jonathan Milligan. Kept his dribble alive, went into additional ball screen, drove, and normally that pass goes to the corner. But instead he found Stewart, who's a lights-out shooter.
Williams taking it himself. The tip from Verhoeven. No. Williams again. The tip.
Dude's a pogo stick.
He has 16 points to lead all scores. Luther the screen and roll. Milligan isolates. Luther with 5 on the shot clock. Got it poked. Corrals. And misses, but the rebound from Chukwuka.
He did almost blow it, but after Krathholm hit those 2 threes, we're starting to see him struggle on the boards and struggle to defend. I think the perfect offensive set from Pitt, and they didn't even get anything out of their offense. But they just exhausted Duquesne, and they lulled him to sleep and got the offensive rebound.
And an offensive foul now is going on Verhoeven. And that'll take us to the under 12 timeout. 52-47. Pittsburgh in front, trying to stay there. Duquesne making a push thanks to Eric Williams Jr. Staying with it. But Pittsburgh's gotten a lot of open 3-point looks. Parker Stewart's hit a couple of them in the second half. And the lead goes from 2 to 5, and Pittsburgh will have the basketball when play resumes. Cameron Ingram.
Hey guys, so I got a chance to talk to Coach Dambrot about what brought him to Duquesne. He told me a couple things. One, he just believed that he could change this program around. Number 2, it's that his dad played here in the 1950s when they were ranked in the top 10. In 54, they were even ranked number 1. Now I was able to find some photos of Sid Dambrot, and they are pretty amazing. Back in the 1950s, this team absolutely dominated this series.
That is fantastic stuff. Sid Dambrot. Cameron, I don't know how you dug that up, but
you know what, guys? It took a lot of digging into the public library archives for sure. You know, that would actually thanks to Dave Zaba, the SID at Duquesne. He helped me out digging that one up.
Well, Keith Dambrot said that his dad Sid, who played here in the the early 50s, and that was when Duquesne was a better program than Pitt. He said that when they were playing these games against Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh was looked at as a JV team.
Which is how Pittsburgh looks at Duquesne nowadays. In all candor. I mean, like, look, it also helps he got an 8-year deal with, I think, $800,000 a year. That'll lure you. But the fact that his dad played there, and there's a common misconception in Duquesne, a Jesuit school. He's Jewish, dad being Jewish. Also a healthy Jewish population on the board. They're all true stories.
Stuff you don't always think about.
Kate says, did Duquesne make the Final Four with LeBron? As Doug, yes.
They would?
Yeah.
3 NCAA tournament appearances for Keith Dambrot. And again, he coached LeBron James in high school.
Eric says, Stallings can't teach fundamentals. Pitt is atrocious at rebounding. Well, one thing is they have a lot of young players. And second thing is the way they're playing, 5 out, no in, 4 out, 1 in, makes it harder to rebound. And they have more perimeter-oriented bigs.
The steal by Lewis.
That's where Luther just gets overwhelmed athletically at times.
A third opportunity for Duquesne, and it's football season, baby. Kellen Taylor, the wide receiver.
I mean, look, the story is this. Pitt has a lot more skill and more size. But Taylor and Williams, one with their athleticism, and two with just their effort, is what's kept Duquesne in this game.
Luther dribbled into traffic.
Yeah, no, he's got to be outside of 3 on that.
Wow, boy. They just keep forgetting about Chukwuka.
No, because Robinson thought they were switching, and Williams, I thought you had. But no, not so much.
It's Doug Gottlieb. I'm Chris Hassel. Cameron Irwin on the sidelines for us here. The stadium brings you college basketball exclusively on Facebook. Good ball game. Pittsburgh's led the whole way.
So you got to figure out, are we switching? Are we staying home? Are we switching on ball screens but not on handoffs? So far, no switching. There's a ball screen, and there's a switch on the ball screen.
Cameron Davis gets it stolen away by Williams. Williams crisscrossing, Euro stepping, kicking out. Taylor, the 3 is off the mark. Not sure if he's the guy you want shooting a 3 in transition.
No. But he took it like he's been taking it all year.
It's not Buddy Hield out there. That's Kellen Taylor, who had not attempted a 3 all season. Williams is going to get a breather. I would imagine it wouldn't be very much of one.
Well, he's got a minute 30 until the TV timeout. He's also taken Robinson down, who got confused defensively. I still think the biggest story here is that Duquesne's keeping it close, and Rene Castro-Kennedy has done nothing. He averages 20 a game.
0 for 3, no points.
And they got caught tailgating Carr on the screen. I'll tell you, Carr's going to be a good player.
He has 13 on 6 of 8 shooting. The lead is 7. And where does the offense come from? An open look from Castro-Kennedy, but he's still off, 0 for 4. Came in leading the team in 3-point percentage at just under 40%. And now Duquesne really has to dig in, because a couple buckets here from Pittsburgh, and it's going to get real tough to come back. Stevenson gets it blocked but fouled. Taylor got hit in the mouth.
I mentioned Carr and his athleticism. Watch, he curls off the screen. Castro-Kennedy gets caught behind, and just in and out moves Taylor. Taylor thought he was going to pass. The Carr's going to be a good one.
Stevenson gets the roll. Mike Lewis sat down for about 40 seconds of game time. He's back in there.
And Shamil Stevenson, another one of the Canadians. Of course, played at Hillcrest Prep School.
And Williams Jr. is back out there already for Duquesne, so that wasn't even a rest until the under 8. That was just a quick breather and get back out there, because we're down 9. the only two players in double figures for Duquesne, Lewis and Williams. Lewis got bumped. No foul call. A lot of standing around. 10 on the shot clock. The drive. That's a tough runner, and it's short.
Now you got to guard their actions for another 25 seconds.
Stevenson used the ball fake. That went off his leg, so a turnover. And Duquesne will have it when play resumes. 58-49. Pittsburgh with the lead. 7:58 to play in the game. For breaking sports news, in progress highlights, the best viral videos and expert opinions from around the day's biggest headlines. Join us daily for the rally at 6 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 1 a.m. Eastern Time, only on WatchStadium.com. With Doug Gottlieb, I'm Chris Hassel. We have Cameron Irwin roaming the sidelines for us all game long. Cameron?
Hey guys, I had a pretty neat opportunity today to go to Duquesne shoot around, and I talked to Coach Dan Brott pretty extensively about culture change and what he's trying to do here at Duquesne. Now, I asked him, what kind of player does it take to instill that type of culture change that he's looking for? He told me, 1, it takes skill set, 2, work ethic, and 3, it's all about being cerebral. He mentioned LeBron James as he coached him in high school and said LeBron was so good, not just because of his physique, but because he could tell him one thing once and he'd do it immediately. So he's going to look for players in the future aiming for that cerebral athlete. Back to you guys.
Look for players like LeBron James. So you should be looking for Duquesne. That would be a really good.
That's a really good recruiting philosophy.
Pittsburgh cheerleaders performing quite the routine. Footloose. There they are.
Got to go outside town lines for that.
It's stuff that you're just not going to see on a regular broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely not. off Broadway production.
Pittsburgh. Yeah,
now,
sure
so Pitt's talking about they're bringing back the yellow and the blue, right? Like instead of the old gold.
Yeah, we're talking to the SID before the game, and I was reading about it actually. I mean, when I think of Pittsburgh, I think of
the script Pitt.
Oh yeah,
side of the helmet.
and the yellow and baby blue, and man, that looks good. And they actually, for a game last season, they went to the throwback uniforms with those colors. People just raved about it. They loved them. I mean, so much better than the colors that they went to, the blue and gold, the dark blue, the navy blue and gold. And it sounds like
old gold's pretty good.
Old gold's not bad,
but it became kind of overused, right? To where the yellow is like the yellow and the blue is very nice. It's good. Like, look, as long as you don't have teams that have to work with green. I'll tell you one thing I like about it. Like, you know, Baylor, they go like black, or they just change, or Oregon, you change your colors like silver. Like, look, that's not fair. That's cheating. If you have school colors, you got to live with them, even if they're ugly. Blue and yellow or blue and gold is not ugly. There's a million different ways to make it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the schools wearing colors that aren't even in the color schemes. A lot of grays out there now. But that's neither here nor there.
Although I do like, you know, gray goes with everything. So. Ooh.
Verhoeven. 7-point game, 7 minutes to play. What Duquesne need to do to keep this a game and stay within striking distance here down the stretch?
I think they just need to be there. Identify that Stevenson's not a shooter, so you can help off him. Luther, no open looks. Keep them to one shot. Now make shooters dribble, make dribblers shoot.
Switch from Verhoeven.
No, he's switching.
He did switch.
So they're switching ball screens and they're hedging handoffs.
That one almost banked in. Luther, the second chance. They ended up with Terrence Smith at 6'2", was the only one in the paint.
Well, that was on that switch. So Verhoeven switched, and he gets caught challenging a jump shot. There's nobody to help rebound.
Foul on Pittsburgh.
Isn't that amazing, though? Like Luther, who had played really well in the first half, hadn't played that well in the second half. But now he gets this huge offensive rebound, right? Duquesne plays perfect defense. They force a bank a bank shot from 3, and then Luther gets. Then the very next time, all of a sudden, he's triggered defensively, where he's playing much harder. Isn't it amazing how that happens? Guy makes a shot, and all of a sudden his defense is better.
Weird, wild stuff. Team fouls not a factor so far, which we like. We Love Guacamole wants to know which team has the best chance to make the tournament here in Pittsburgh. Is it Pittsburgh, Duquesne, or Robert Morris? Maybe I'll adjust the question. Which team is going to have the best season of those 3?
I'd say Robert Morris.
Williams Jr. Another 3-point opportunity. I believe that's the 3rd of the night.
I mean, but look, there are 3 players. If you count Williams, I mean, Williams is just a pleasant surprise. He's just out-athleting them, outworking them. And we see Luther yelling at Stevenson. You got to box that dude out. You got to put a body on him. It's hard to put a body on a guy who's a sinewy athlete who's got a running start, run to rebound.
Problem is, Williams can't make a free throw. He's 5 for 10 from the free throw line tonight. Moves from Milligan.
Milligan not a shooter, but he knows he's not a shooter. That's a big move for him. Redshirt senior.
Still no points for Castro Kennedy. He is 0 for 6 from the floor. Came in leading the team 20 points a game. Was shooting 50% from the floor.
And Marcus Carr has just got him on lock, and he's doing a great job of forcing him to his left hand. Even that step back jump shot that's more his shot in the mid-range, he's not allowing him to get downhill.
Good adjustment midair from Stevenson. Double clutch, and the lead is back to double figures for Pittsburgh with under 5 to play. And a timeout is called by Keith Dambrot as Duquesne senses it slipping away just a bit here in the 86th edition of the City Game. Hey, coming up on Stadium, December the 9th, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Houston Cougars against the Billikens of St. Louis. Stadium, the only 24/7 network available on both TV and digital services without a cable subscription. Check your local TV listings or go to watchstadium.com. That is December the 9th, which would be a week from tomorrow. Cameron Irwin, what you got?
Hey guys, I've just got a couple questions for you. In terms of rebuilding programs, there's kind of a debate as to how many years it should actually take. Some say 1 to 2, and that's what they're asking on Facebook. Or do you think these guys deserve a little bit more patience in those 3 to 4 year range?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that Keith Dambrot, they have a lot of patience. Pittsburgh, they have a lot less patience, and it'll look a lot worse because of their success over the last 20 years has been outstanding. But look, Kevin Stallings didn't go anywhere. They're not firing him if he has a bad year this year, and especially with all the new players. But I do think in the next 2 to 3 years, he's going to have to get it going. And I think if you look historically what he did at Illinois State, what he did at Vanderbilt, he will get it going.
I think it's different for every program. I mean, if you're down in the dumps, it's going to take a few years. If it's just a program that's just trying to reset and it has a basketball pedigree.
But it's hard in the ACC now.
Oh, boy.
Now, I read you that schedule. Tell me the road game they're going to win.
I mean, there's 15 teams in the ACC now, 14 in the A10.
Right, like you run the benefit early. I think their second game in the ACC, and their second game in the ACC is Louisville, who's talented, but you're playing against a very young coach and a team who they could go either way, even by the time you play Louisville. And Kevin Stallings, he can coach the ball now. But I mean, I went through that schedule, and you tell me where the road victory is. So it's not easy to rebuild the A10, but because they haven't been to the tournament since 1977, there'll be a lot more patience for Keith Dambrot. He's got 5 guys sitting out, got 5 more signed already.
And the expectation level's a lot lower.
Right. Pittsburgh, you start losing the Naval Academy first game of the year, people are freaking out. Even though anyone had to know, 11 new players, it's going to take some time.
Williams misses. Pittsburgh has it up 11. It's a Pittsburgh program that 2 different times had a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament in the last decade. People would not have expected. They would have called you nuts if when they went into the ACC they would have been picked dead last in this season, a few seasons in to the ACC experience. Luther ups the lead to 13. It's really getting away from Duquesne now. Big possession here with under 4 to play.
Well, they had to go to the ACC for football. This was no choice.
Fade away from Mike Lewis. He's got a good shot on him.
I mean, obviously the Big 12 was an option, and the money that you're making from the ACC.
Big 10 could have been an option. That would have been a decent fit.
When was the Big 10 an option?
Oh, some Big 10. I hate take Pittsburgh over Rutgers. You kidding me?
Yeah, but you can't get in the New York market. They weren't. It wasn't offered.
That New York TV market argument was absolutely.
They just signed a deal for $50 million per school.
Hey,
where do you think they got the money?
It would still be there if Pittsburgh was there instead of Rutgers. You're not going to tell me that more than 1,000 people are watching Rutgers games in New York.
They don't. No, that's not the point. The point is that Michigan alums, the point is that Ohio State alums, Wisconsin alums that work in New York City will watch when they play Rutgers. That's the sale and how they got on Cablevision in New York. And it worked. And that's why each of those schools in their new TV deals will be making 50. Pittsburgh would have gone to the Big 10 in a heartbeat if they asked. But they weren't asked.
Which is why Nebraska, even though it hasn't had the success that it had in the Big 12, Nebraska doesn't regret going to the Big 10.
Well, the problem is, though, that they can't recruit Texas and they can't recruit Florida in football. And because you don't play in Texas anymore, it's been really, really hard for them.
Pittsburgh up 13. Make that 11 after the bucket. And main reason why has been this kid, Luther. Man, he's been good all throughout this one.
I'm really impressed by Ryan Luther. Early in the game, showing some spriteful athleticism. We know he can shoot the basketball. Been good around the hoop as well. And there will be some abundant challenges when they get into ACC play, playing the center position. Occasionally getting switched up, having to guard the Marvin Bagleys of the world. But Ryan Luther has helped carry this Pittsburgh team to an 11-point lead.
His twin brother Colin plays at Elon. His cousin Mike Shanahan was a wide receiver at Pittsburgh from 2009 to 2012. And his uncle Brian Shanahan, he scored over 1,300 points for Duquesne in the late 80s. And he was down to Pitt in Duquesne. Duquesne really wanted him, of course. He chose Pittsburgh.
That would actually be like the weirdest transfer ever, right? Like you'd see all your same friends, you go to the same Starbucks, whatever. You're like, no, I just transferred to Duquesne. I went like across the street. Like that's almost like changing major. You just would never go in the Tower of Learning ever again.
Pittsburgh Panthers made just one Final Four back in 1941. But look at the Pittsburgh basketball history all in all. You had 2 ABA teams, the Pipers, the Condors, of course the Fish that saved Pittsburgh in 1979.
That's Moses Guthrie, played by Dr. J, and there's most famous Steel City alum, Sean Miller.
Susie McConnell Serio, 2-time Olympic medalist and current Pitt women's head coach.
This arena, by the way, is spectacular. It's my 3rd time here, and every time I'm like, man, that's a really nice place.
PBG Paints Arena.
I got to see a hockey game.
Opened up in 2010. This is where the Penguins play.
They also train here. They got a cool training facility in it.
Duquesne and Pittsburgh have their own dedicated locker rooms here at the arena. They play here every year. 5 Stanley Cups for the Pittsburgh Penguins, the last 2, going for 3 in a row this season. Castro Kennedy still can't find it. 0 for 7.
He's getting hooked too. Man. You like it, the hockey?
It's in my sports top 5.
Not my top 5.
You're putting soccer ahead of it then.
Well, you got college basketball, NBA basketball,
I'm going basketball, football, baseball, golf, hockey.
Big couple days for golf. It's like
make Sundays great again.
Pens are up 4-0 against 4-0 against Buffalo. There you go. We got your hockey scores and your basketball updates here on Stadium.
Get on up. Stevenson getting to the free throw line.
Stevenson. That was almost nasty. Our guys are going to have to do some work, send that to all the outlets. That now we're like, they were actually rooting for, they all want to go home. They want to get, actually several of them have left and gone to the bar.
Well, producer Mark is on his 4th game in 4 nights, and I think 4 different time zones. We came from Birmingham last night. Look at the Canadian connection here. Marcus Carr and Stevenson.
That's from the GTA.
Greater Toronto area.
Greater Toronto area. Huge basketball.
The greater Mississauga area.
Well, they call it the GTA. Some call it the 6, of course.
The 6, yeah. Drizzy. That was up there. Called the D-League Finals. Raptors 905 won the D-League Championship under Jerry Stackhouse.
Stack's a good dude, man.
Lewis hits. He wanted the foul, too. Timeout is called. Got undercut there just a touch.
I think he got fouled.
I think so, too. Didn't call it, though.
Remember, I don't know if you're old enough. Remember AT&T, You Make the Call they used to have on Saturdays? It would be a football call from the week before. All right, so here's the You Make the Call. Did he get fouled or did he flop? Mike Lewis comes up.
Watch the feet. Nope.
Can't really tell. We're gonna dissolve blue. I'm not really sure what that is. Nah, it doesn't. There we go. Thank you for dissolving blue on that one. I appreciate it.
Like Kenny Mayne on Sports. Kenny Mayne will read everything on the shot sheet. So you put an ORAD telestration. Kenny Mayne will say ORAD telestration. A little look behind the scenes. Dissolve blue. That's what we do for a second look at a replay. There's blue lines out here underneath the court for the Penguins. But a foul was not called. There was a little bit of contact. It would have been running into the punter in college football. Duquesne and Pitt do not play in football, by the way. Luther blocked by Verhoeven. Stay with Pittsburgh. 9-point game, 2:14 to play. Pittsburgh not out of the woods yet.
Luther's got to pass that ball. That was a bad look for him.
You got 20 on the shot clock. You can take some time off.
Nice slip.
Back door. Luther kicks it out. Stewart to 3.
Boom. That's the perfect design of the set with the spacing.
Stewart 4 of 6 from 3-point range. All of his points coming from behind the arc. Lewis in and out. Rebound Taylor. Back up strong.
I mean, you had Taylor to Williams and Lewis. I mean, if you get your best player playing well, Keith Dambrot's got some. Renee Castro-Kennedy's just got to play better.
Castro-Kennedy, the leading scorer on Duquesne, averaging 20 points a game. Boy, that's going to take a hit tonight. 0 for 7, no points.
Let's see what we got here.
Keep the Facebook comments coming using that hashtag you see on your screen there.
Andre says, do I need to create an Answer Dre hashtag? How do you respond to all the questions I asked you? Dre, ask another question. There's a lot that are coming here. I'd be happy to. I'm also trying to call a game. Here's your things. Stewart's going to be, Todd says Stewart's going to be a nice player at Pitt. I would tend to agree.
Look at this. Is that PFT commentator? Look at PFT commentator on the drums for Duquesne.
Well, are you allowed? Is that trademarked for Barstool?
I don't know.
You and PFT commentator also have this other thing in common. You're both ex-ESPNers, although his tenure lasted a little bit shorter than yours did.
Mine lasted 4.5 years. His lasted 4.5 hours.
Yes.
Stevenson, the smush.
Steven Adams, of course. who only played here 1 year at Pitt. I called the game, the tournament game they lost.
Late foul call on Luther there.
Yeah, there he is.
Well, he's a crazy
monster. He is a monster. Like, he is one of the biggest, strongest human beings on earth. You know, he's one of like 18, right? He's got 18 brothers and sisters.
Yeah. I've heard the story. Incredible. Thanks for the correspondence all night long.
Yeah,
this is
so
fun.
what do we got here? We already had Andre.
Andre, there's like a 10 question minimum here, Andre.
Yeah, seriously.
Let some other people ask some questions.
Well, let's scroll up here. Let's scroll up. Scroll up. You have one of the great laptops in the history of
the work laptop.
Doug, what do you want for Christmas? It's a good question. I do celebrate Christmas. Thank you for asking. That should have been a travel. And that's going to be a dunk.
Parker Stewart.
You know who Parker Stewart reminds me of? I just realized it. Matthew Fisher Davis, who played at Vanderbilt for Kevin Stallings.
Matthew Fisher Davis is struggling with some injury issues early on this season for Vanderbilt. They got beat by Belmont, a game that we had here on Facebook.
Yep. Belmont is to Duquesne. No, Belmont is to Vanderbilt what Duquesne is to Pittsburgh in terms of proximity.
Doesn't look like Duquesne's going to get what Belmont got this season, which was a win over a big-time Power 5 school.
But a respectable showing.
Very good. I thought both teams performed better than I expected.
You were on the phone with your bookie before the game. Your entire life savings was on Pittsburgh.
That's not true. I did think Pittsburgh would win handily. You did not. You weren't buying in last night when I told you that?
No, I thought it would be a competitive game, which is what we had. I didn't realize
it has been pretty competitive, but Pittsburgh has led throughout.
You know what? Honestly, here's how I will support you. I didn't think it would be. I thought it'd be close. I didn't think it would be as well played a game as it has been.
Yeah, I've been impressed by everything. Impressed by the arena. Impressed by both teams, better than I thought they would be. Both teams picked last. You don't expect that much. And looking at game film, you know, a game against High Point with 2,000 people in the stands, it's hard to feel that good about what you're seeing. Impressed by the turnout as well. Great turnout from these wonderful basketball fans here in Pittsburgh. Some of them have left in the last couple minutes because the game is in hand. But kudos to everyone here.
You're congratulating people for showing up?
Absolutely. Hey, they had 2,000 fans at the Peterson Event Center last game.
Yeah, but that was during Thanksgiving break, and they picked last. I'm not sure. That guy right there in the middle might have fallen asleep.
He missed the whole game.
No, he fell asleep in the Penguins game. He woke up. He's like, "What the hell is going on here?" Oh, basketball, yeah. No, he's good. He's good now.
No, you know who that might be?
Next.
That might be a guy who took the under.
Kidding me. Gottlieb on his radio show said it was a lock. A lock.
Yeah, he's a little. Yeah, it's a look of a guy that might have had 3 beers in the first half, and it's just kind of hit. It's late, you know.
Matt Richardson says Ryan Luther sets the most illegal screens ever, maybe. Darren Moore says, "Look, dude, it was versus High Point." That's a really good point. Are you going to go to a Pitt High Point game?
Well, I'm not putting Duquesne that far ahead of High Point. I know it's a rivalry game. I know it's a.
No, that was my question. My question is, you're making fun of the fact that there was 2,000 people.
I'm not making fun. I'm just stating facts. That was the lowest attended game in the history of the Peterson event.
Agreed. But this is also a massive rebuilding year. They lost early in the season in the Naval Academy. They're picked last, and it was during Thanksgiving break, and it was High Point.
We got to get to Doris.
How much money would somebody have to pay you to go to a High Point Pittsburgh game?
Doris says these commentators should get on the field, and then maybe we could laugh at them. You could probably go on YouTube, Dora, find some shots of Doug.
On the field. On the field.
Did you play football or baseball?
It's the Cathedral of Learning? I thought it was the Tower of Learning.
Oh, boy.
Bill says it's the Cathedral of Learning. I thought it was the Tower of Learning. My bad.
Well, Pittsburgh
Dora says that we seem like we may have had one too many to drink.
I have had a lot of coffee today. Pittsburgh back in the win column against Duquesne. Duquesne won last season to snap a 15-game losing streak, but tonight, Kevin Stallings gets his first win over Duquesne. 76-64, Pittsburgh led throughout. Got a little hairy there midway through the second half. Duquesne cut it to a one-possession game, but Pittsburgh, few too many horses on that ACC roster, and they get it to 4-4 on the season as Duquesne falls to 2-3. Next up for the Pittsburgh Panthers, home against Mount St. Mary's at 7 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday. We'll count each and every one of you that attends that one at the Peterson Event Center. Coach Stallings is with Cameron Irwin.
All right, Coach, you told me that it's not necessarily just about getting the W, but it's about the little things. Did you see the little things tonight?
Yeah, I did. I saw some real fight in our team when they came back and closed the gap a little bit. Our guys bowed up, and Parker Stewart made some big shots, and Ryan Luther played like a senior, but I thought Shamil Stevenson really rebounded the ball going down the stretch. We really had some good individual performances, but I really liked it, our connectedness on defense. I thought that's what won the game for us.
Now, this is a rivalry game, and one of the big things is this is your first win of the City Cup, or City Game Cup, pretty much. This is actually a trophy you guys are about to host up. How does that one feel?
Well, it's good. It sure feels better than the other way because I got that one last year, so it's much better to win.
All right, enjoy the win,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Back to you guys.
All right, a smile from Kevin Stallings after the game.
He showed his team played well.
Yeah.
Hey, at number 5, Marcus Carr, he's going to be a good player. You mentioned Parker Stewart, hit some threes tonight.
And there it is, the City Cup. It's back where Pittsburgh fans will tell you it belongs, in the hands of the Pittsburgh Panthers after a one-year hiatus just across the street at Duquesne University. The two schools separated by just 2.4 miles. And Pittsburgh, after the loss last season, a 64-55 setback, able to win this one tonight. You mentioned Carr, 15 points. Luther led the way with 16. A valiant effort from the Duquesne Dukes. Got 20 from Lewis and 18 from Williams, but 0 from their leading scorer, Rene Castro Kennedy.
Probably the most surprising part. Hey, listen, Williams has got a world of talent and a great motor. Mike Lewis showed good toughness. I wouldn't be surprised if Duquesne and Pittsburgh a little bit better in the preseason prognostications.
There you go. We were impressed tonight. Hope you were impressed with the stream as well here on Facebook. Pittsburgh takes it. Up next, Mount St. Mary's. Duquesne is home against Maryland Eastern Shore Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. The 86th City Game goes to the Pittsburgh Panthers. For Cameron Irwin and Doug Gottlieb, I'm Chris Hassel. Thanks for watching, everybody.